Hey friends, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If it's your first time here, my name is Amber and a special welcome to you. This is part one of a brand new series we're starting together. It's called Becoming Her. And throughout this series, we're just going to be studying Proverbs 31, and I'm going to be sharing information and just different biblical truths to help you as you prepare for kingdom marriage. Maybe some of you watching are already married. I would encourage you to keep watching because I think that what's shared is just going to serve as gentle reminders. My goal is to talk to you like a friend, okay? So I want this to be very informal, very laid back. I do want to warn you though that because this is the Word of God, there's going to be some things discussed that might hurt. It might sting, but that's what happens when you read the Bible. That's what happens when we discuss truth in God's Word. That's a healthy thing. That's what's supposed to happen. If you watch my videos and you always leave feeling great about yourself, then I'm not doing my job. So I just want to preface that because I'm going to talk about some things that, you know, in your flesh, you might feel judged, you might feel criticized, but I want you to hear my heart. That is not my intent at all. I just am a very thorough person. I'm very practical. And I know God has placed it on my heart to talk about these things because he cares about you. Okay? And look, y'all, God tells me about myself all the time. So welcome to the club. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to pick up in Proverbs 31 and we're going to start in verse 10. And make sure you have like a pen, a notepad, something to write on because we're going to be talking about a lot of things and I want to make sure that you have record of that in your notes. So don't forget that. So in Proverbs 31 verse 10, it says, "A wife of noble character who can find? Her value is worth more than rubies." Before we really start pulling that verse apart, I want us to first just look at the context of what's happening. So if you've read the book of Proverbs, if you've studied the book of Proverbs, then you know that throughout the book, it is a man speaking to a young boy, okay? It's like a father speaking to his son. And throughout the book of Proverbs, we see that there are two types of women that are being compared throughout the book. Okay, there's woman wisdom, and then there's woman folly. All right, so as you read throughout the book of Proverbs, you see that there's a father talking to his son, and he's giving him wisdom. He's giving him principles for daily living. Okay, he's teaching him what to do, what not to do. You know, I think the book of Proverbs warns us about any type of person we could ever meet. Okay, it doesn't just warn us about certain personalities, but it also teaches us how to deal with those personalities. So we see that. Now, when we get to Proverbs 31, though, there's a switch that happens, okay? Now it's the mother speaking to her son. And let me back up a little bit. Let me back up to who this woman was, because some of y'all don't know. Y'all about to be shook. So in Proverbs 31, these are the words of Bathsheba. Some of y'all are like, wait, you mean Bathsheba, like the hit it and quit it girl, David? Yes, her. Yes, yes. So in the story of King David, we see that he is chilling at his house one day. He was supposed to be in a war fighting, but he decided to take the day off. And he sees a woman and she's bathing herself and he's like, man, wow, like she is beautiful. And so he'd send somebody to go fetch her for him because he wants to do the do. And then they do the do and then she winds up pregnant. So David tries to cover up his mess because she was a married woman and actually her husband served in his unit, which is crazy. And so this sounds like tea, huh? I'm telling y'all, the Bible's better than reality TV. I'm trying to tell y'all. The husband comes back because David beckons for him and he's like, why are you calling me here for a party? Like I'm supposed to be fighting. But David wants to invite him to a party to get him drunk and then hopefully get him to sleep with his wife. So he thinks when they have a baby, he thinks the baby will be his. Well, the plan flops. It doesn't work out. And so David just winds up having him killed. Yeah, the story goes from bad to worse. Like, it just gets worse. And so, and to top it all off, and what makes it even worse is that the baby that Bathsheba's carrying ends up dying. So later on in David's life, him and Bathsheba get pregnant again, and they have a son, and his name is Solomon. And Solomon is the wealthiest, wisest person to ever live, and Solomon wrote the book of Proverbs. So now that we understand the context, when we get to chapter 31, Bathsheba is talking to her son, and she's trying to understand, Solomon, we've taught you all these things. We have raised you up. Why on earth are you acting a fool and giving yourself over to these women who will ruin you? Okay? And so I love making things practical, by the way, because I feel like everything doesn't need to be deep. Okay, when you read the Bible, it gets very deep. But a lot of this stuff is just practical, right? So think about it now. Think about if you have a son, or if you plan on having a son one day, you would love to have a son, and you're talking to him one day because you've raised him up the right way. He knows the truth. He knows right from wrong, but for some reason, he loves the women who are for the streets, okay? He's all about that. And that's what Bathsheba is doing here. So starting in verse 10, she's telling her son the type of woman he should be looking for. She's simply explaining to him, these are the this is the type of character, this is the type of attributes that you look for in a woman. Because if you get with the wrong one, she's going to ruin your life. Some of you also didn't realize that Proverbs 31 is not explaining a specific woman, it's explaining a type of woman. And that's why I call it the Proverbs 31 model. And yes, Proverbs 31 is actually written for men because it serves as a type of guideline or a type of picture on what they should be looking for in a wife. But we as women have adopted it as our own, and there's nothing wrong with that because the Bible is applicable to men, women, people everywhere, and so we can do that. But I did want to just explain it to y'all in its entirety. I've always thought it was interesting that in verse 10, it says, a wife of noble character who can find? Notice this is a question, okay? A wife of noble character who can find. The way it's presented, it almost sounds like it's impossible to find this kind of woman. It sounds like, man, it's going to require some work, right? And, I just love that. I love that a lot because I believe that when you grow up in a Christian home, or if you've been a Christian for some time now, and if you haven't, then you're still involved in what I'm about to say. But I think sometimes you can become so accustomed to hearing, woman of God, godly woman, daughter of the Most High God, God's daughter. Like, we can hear these terms in this language and it just becomes very normal to us after a while. It can just sound cliche. For me, I got to a place where it just sounded like a concept. I remember when I was 21 years old, I didn't understand my value as a woman. I didn't understand what made me different. I didn't understand what would make me stand out as a woman compared to all these other women. And I would say, well, Lord, I know you love me. I know I'm part of your family, but there's a lot of other women who are too. So I don't really understand, like, to me, I still feel like I'm basic. I feel very basic. Some of you might be like, wow, you felt that way? Girl, yeah, I'll be the first one to say it. There's just certain things. I grew up in a Christian home, so I just believe, after a while, it was just like this cute language to use, but I didn't really understand it. And then I remember when the Lord brought me to Proverbs 31 to study it, and everything that I took from that, I'm actually teaching throughout this series. But I just remember needing the Lord to show me who I was. I needed him to show me how he saw me. And you know, I believe that women of God are a rarity. Okay? I believe that true women of God are like hidden treasures. I don't believe these women are everywhere. I do believe it takes work for a man to come across these women, and not just come across them, but to actually be able to have a relationship with them. These women are really a minority. And something that I want to challenge you with, this is one of those times y'all gonna be like, whoa, Amber, whoa, don't do that, but I have to. I mentioned earlier that throughout the book of Proverbs, we see woman wisdom being compared to woman folly, okay? And as women who are followers of Christ, we all have to have honest conversations with ourselves and honest conversations with God. I want you to take a moment. I'm going to ask you this question. Take a moment to be honest with yourself when you answer it. Which one of those camps, if you have to be honest with yourself, do you fall into? Woman wisdom. This is the kind of woman who thirsts and seeks after righteousness. Okay? This is a woman who wants to do things God's way. Okay? She's willing to be set apart. She's willing to be rejected, hated, outcasted, and disliked because she has stood on holy ground. Okay, she is firm in her faith. She's firm in the freedom that Christ has provided for her. And you know what? Other people might think she's weird or funny, but she is who she is, and she embraces that. This is the kind of woman who has self-control. She has dignity, all right? She has character that is upright. And as we continue to go throughout Proverbs 31, we're going to see more of who this woman is. But that's Exhibit A. Okay, now Exhibit B is woman folly. Woman folly is a fool. She has bad behavior and bad character, and she thinks it's cute. All right, she's loud, she's boisterous, she's disrespectful. She does everything with a selfish motive. She does most things with selfish ambition. She is self-indulged. She's only focused on herself. Okay, women like that are toxic. They are just nerve-wracking. Okay, women like this live drama-filled life. They cannot have peace. Okay, it's women like this I think of that lack femininity. They might look like a feminine woman, but there's nothing gentle or soft about them. And I believe that we fall into one of those camps. Now, maybe for some of us, we're like a Venn diagram where it's like, well, I'm a little bit of this and I'm a little bit of that. Well, honey, if that's you, that's not good. Okay, that's not a safe place to be, and I'll tell you why. The Lord is not the author of confusion. So I get it. You want a godly husband, you want a godly man, but the men out there, that the type of man you want, okay, you are confusing to them. You're confusing to them. Because while you go to church on Sunday and you look the part, all right, you do things, though, that's like, wait, what? Okay? And you're confusing. And I think that's why some men might not be approaching you. And maybe that's why you keep attracting these other men who are really for the streets, all right? And that's why you keep attracting these men, because the ones who are upright in the Lord and the ones who really have hearts after God, they look at you and they're like, I don't know. Okay, and I don't say that to criticize you. I don't say that to make you feel bad about yourself. I'm saying this as a wake-up call, that you need to get with the Lord and identify those areas of your life that really need to be adjusted. I used to go to church with a woman like that. She was so beautiful. Like, I knew all the guys at church thought she was so attractive, but the ones who were really great men, like the kind of men you would want to, marry and be with, they would never approach her, because they're like, well, she comes to church on Sunday and she serves and she does all these things, but on the weekends, she's getting tore up, okay? She's at the club, she's twerking, she goes on dates, and the dates don't start till way past it when they should, and look, I don't say that to try to talk about somebody and make them look bad and seem like a horrible person. I'm using this as an example because there are men out there who have the potential. They have everything that you're looking for, but they're not approaching you because they're not liking what they see. Okay? They want to know who you are. They want the real you. You know what I'm saying? They don't want this act. We have enough actors in the church today. We don't need more of that. Okay? So that's the first thing that you have to sit with. And the thing you have to really look at is, what are you putting out there? And the next thing I want us to look at is this word noble. That word noble. Noble is such a prestigious word, right? When you hear the word noble, you think of prestige. Think of the word regal. You think affluence. You think of somebody who is they're cut from a different cloth, right? You think of the word royalty. At least that's what I think of. Because when I think of, noble, I do think of, families that are just, it's their name. Their name holds a lot of weight, okay? And these people do very well for themselves. They're part of a society that's, everybody's not into, or not everybody can be a part of, even if they wanted to. That word noble has different synonyms and different meanings, right? Some of them include morally excellent, ethical, virtuous, good, righteous. Just hearing that, you can already tell that this is someone who is like the minority, right? Because the majority of people are not that way, men and women included. We're just not. And I think it's important for us to know as godly women that we should be all of those things, okay? If we call ourselves followers of Christ, then these different words should line up with our character. It should line up with who we are. And we're all in different journeys in our walk with Christ, but, we should at least be striving after those things. We should have a desire to embody those things. I also want to point out that the verse doesn't say, a woman of noble character who can find. It says a wife of noble character who can find. And I think it's important to remember, for those of you who are single, that, a wife is a helpmate. Now, it doesn't mean that we are inferior. It doesn't mean that we're less important. It's just that we have our different roles. Okay, when God created us, He gave men and women. He made us different. Okay, we're different. And so, for the man, it's his job to go out and lead his family, to protect his family, and to provide for his family. And for the woman, it's her role as a wife to come alongside her husband and be a helpmate. Okay, if you have been in a relationship with a man, all right, if you're married to a man, they need all the help they can get. And I don't mean that to bash them or anything like that. It's just the truth. They need all the help that they can get. And so something I want you to think about as you're in your singleness, for those of you who are, I want you to think about, what are you doing right now in your life that is helpful? Who are you helping? Who are you coming alongside of? How are you making sacrifices? What are some things that you're doing that are selfless? Because if you're not exercising that now while you have time and while you're single, then when you get married, that's going to feel like a muscle you've never had to exercise, right? And look, when you don't exercise and then you finally, start going to workout classes and trying to get into a regimen, it's painful. It's very painful. Trust me, I know, because that's me right now. But it's uncomfortable, right? But the more you do it, the more that pain starts to subside. And so I believe that why not work on that while you have time? Why not go ahead and start exercising those muscles while it's just you? And a very simple way to do that is by serving at your local church. It's by getting involved in a community. It's, having a community of women where y'all actually get deep and you talk about the different things that you're struggling with, and you're taking that time to pray and cover them. And I could keep going. There's a lot of different ways that we can come alongside and help others and serve others. But I'm just throwing that out there because I think for some people, for some women, they skip over that in their singleness, right? Because they believe and they've been told that their single years are their selfish years. You do what you want to do. If it's not making you happy, if it's not feeding you, throw it out, chuck it out. But that's not true. You don't become a wife when you get a ring. You don't become a wife at the altar. A wife has everything to do with who you are. I see women all the time that have a ring and they're a wife, but if you really watch them, it's like, what in the world? Once again, I'm just saying things how they are, right? But a lot of times when I look at women like that, I just think to myself, well, she probably wasn't discipled, and she probably didn't understand the concept of marriage as it applies to the Bible and what it really is, because God created marriage. That's something that He Himself has created, and the world tries to paint it in a picture that it's not, right? But I see those types of things and those behaviors, and I'm telling you, you've got to start dealing with that stuff now. Earlier I asked the question about how you're presenting yourself and how you carry yourself, right? And for some of us, that's our starting point today is, hey, I might need to stop going to some places. I might need to stop listening to some things. I might need to stop wearing certain clothes. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all have to understand that God is serious about you. Okay? He loves you. You are His. But some people don't know you belong to Him because of what you're putting out there. So we have to start there. We have to start in that place. And the last piece that I want to talk to y'all is that last part of the verse that says, her value is worth more than rubies. I want y'all to understand that we live in a spiritual world. And a lot of you, you're aware. But I just want to put it out there. We live in a spiritual world. And at the end of the day, we either belong to Jesus and we are Team Jesus, or we're on the same team as the enemy. That's what it boils down to. But if you are a daughter of Christ, I want you to understand that you belong to a society that's not even a part of this realm, okay? You have a type of royalty about you that supersedes the natural world, okay? You are not a regular, degular kind of woman. You are not. Some of you are single right now because God comes in and He's intercepting these men that are coming that don't belong to Him, okay? Satan has his offspring, all right? And trust me, he sends his sons all the time to women of God. He does. He sends them over, right? When I was single, I thought it was so funny how men that were Christian, like they never were interested in me. And if they were, it was like rare, okay? But the men that were atheists were interested in me. The men who claim to be Christian, but they don't believe in the institution of the church were interested in me. I always got men where everything seemed to be in order, but when it came to their faith, when it came to the most important thing, they were lacking. And I remember getting frustrated. I said, Lord, I feel like you just, I feel like, first of all, I feel like I'm ugly. I feel like there's something wrong with me because men never want to talk to me. They never want to approach me. And I said, and I don't understand that, but I'm telling y'all, I remember the Lord showing me that He had me hidden. He said, Amber, men don't approach you because I don't allow them to. For some of y'all, that's what you're experiencing. I believe that if you are serious about your walk with God, then the dating pool just got a lot smaller Because a lot of people, especially in this generation, in this time, they're not about that life. They're just not. But you are. So your pull for a suitor just became a lot smaller. But I don't want your faith to become smaller. I want you to have faith that God will bring that person for you if it's according to his will and in his perfect timing. But at the end of the day, God is preparing you for himself. Okay, you don't need a man to come alongside so you can feel validated and your life is complete. You're setting yourself up for misery. All right, you need to be so content and so fulfilled in your relationship with God that, you think to yourself, it'd be nice to have a boyfriend. It'd be nice to be in a relationship. But at the end of the day, I'm good. I'm good. I know who I am. I know where my value comes from. And I don't need a relationship so now I'm somebody, right? I believe that lie for so many years. Don't do that. Don't fall into that. You are royalty. Okay, you belong to a royal family. You cannot be with the peasants. I'm sorry. And I once again, I ain't trying to be ugly. I'm just stating the facts, right? God is not playing about you. He's not. Now, for some of you, maybe you are doing what I used to do, which is, I try to skirt around God because he's taking too long. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to just do it myself. And then crap hits the fan, okay? And then you come out looking real crazy. So be patient. Wait on the Lord, okay? Invite God into your relationships. If there's someone you're interested in, somebody that's pursuing you, and you're open to it, take your time. Take your time. Pray. Talk to the Lord. Invite him in. Because something you have to remember is that you can't see everything about a man. Okay? They're going to show you what they want you to see. But the Lord knows everything. So if something doesn't work out with somebody, and I know that's hard because I felt like that was the story of my life, y'all. But let me tell you, and it's people say it all the time. You've heard it before, but it's true. Rejection can be protection. All right? Who you are right now is not who you're going to be forever. You're going to evolve. All right? And there might be that person where right now y'all link, everything's cute. But guess what? God knows who you're going to become, and he knows who they're going to become. And if it's not a good match, he's going to come in and intercept that. Okay? He's going to block it. Thank him for it. You might not thank him right now, but there will come a day where you look back. You're like, oh, okay. All right. I see. I see why you did that. Okay? I really hope y'all enjoyed today's video. I literally just winged it. And not in a way where I wasn't prepared, because I've practiced this, but I just wanted to speak from my heart. I didn't want to overwhelm y'all. But I really want to just talk to you like a friend, because I believe that it's not good enough just to get married, okay? I believe that it's important to prepare yourself to be in a marriage that is beautiful, that's abundant, that is fun, that is life-giving. Okay, it's not enough just to get married and then say that you did and then you're unhappy, right? And marriage is not about happiness, by the way. It's not about that. Marriage is a partnership. It's God putting you with a man where y'all come together and y'all do his work on this earth. Okay, you do it as a unit. It's a partnership. But at the same time, it's very hard. It's very hard. But it's rewarding too. And so God, created marriage, and he said it was a good thing. And I believe marriage is a good thing. I really do. But I think that the world and our society is showing us a picture of marriage that God did not intend for us to see. It's not what he necessarily intended for it to be. If you enjoyed part 1 of this series, please comment below. Tell me some takeaways. What's something, if you have to name one thing that really just stuck out to you that you feel like rocked your world, comment that below. I love to hear from you all. So I would very much appreciate that. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not already. And make sure that notification bell is on, because I'm going to be dropping new videos and you do not want to miss these. So make sure you ring that notification bell so you'll be notified. Lastly, give this video a thumbs up and share it with a friend. You have friends who are single. Send it to them, okay? Like I said, this is for every woman, but I really believe that women who are single are really going to take something away from this. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.